Hello. Uh, Hang on. Okay, let me start the show the same way I do every week by posting the link to the show. If anybody wants to join me, you are always welcome. Um, I would actually appreciate it because I do not want to talk about myself this week. I am. Hello. How are you, Lauren? I hope you're doing well. Um, I don't know what is going on with me, but I am in one of the biggest funks I have ever been in. Um, and I just can't seem to shake it. And I honestly have absolutely zero reason for it. Like, it's not wintertime, it's not like seasonal depression. Nothing's wrong with my job, nothing's wrong with my marriage. Actually, today is my 14-year anniversary with my husband, which is fantastic. As per usual, we were supposed to go to dinner, but that did not work out. In 14 years, I don't know that we actually have ever celebrated our anniversary. We've just kind of got this machine going, like it's a very well oiled machine. We work really well together, but it seems like there's always something going on, something that needs to be done, something, that takes priority. So he ended up working later tonight than he had planned. So we just decided we'll go to dinner another time. Not a huge deal because we were going to take the kids anyways. Again, we don't normally celebrate anniversaries, but um, it's 14 years. That's a long time. I'm excited. Definitely many, many more years to come because I can't imagine. Thanks, Wolliver. He said happy anniversary. Lauren said I was that way last week. It's so weird because when it's like wintertime or it's gloomy or, something, there's a lot of things that can affect your mood that a lot of people don't realize. Like, unless you're in tune with what's going on in your brain, which most people are not, it's definitely a skill that you have to work on your whole life. So unless there's like something going on that affects those sort of things, even like, the moon phase, women's cycle phases, like there's so many things that affect your mood, and I literally have nothing, there's nothing wrong. um but my brain's just like, yeah, we're gonna be sad. um but I don't know, I've been trying to think about it because I always try to self-diagnose. It's worked for me for a lot of years. um I always try to like self-diagnose and see like, well, did this happen? Did somebody, say something that you took wrong? And, that's what's going on. And honestly, I think the only thing that I can attribute it to is just the world in general. Um, I don't know. I'm not trying to like get political because I don't do that ever. I won't talk politics. But just everybody in general. Everything seems to be just falling apart, and it seems like everybody is doing the opposite of helping. Um, like I feel like our biggest problem is that everybody's so divided on every single issue, and it just breaks my heart to see people who used to love each other so much and to care so much about each other just completely disregard years and years of friendships or family or whatever just for one issue. Um, and it seems like nobody's catching on to that. Nobody's catching on to the fact that like we're letting these issues destroy relationships. And man, that breaks my heart. Eddie Pence, hello. Hope you and mom are doing well. Nancy says smile. Lauren says December 14th will be mine with my husband's 27th wedding anniversary. Nice. Oh, there's Sam. I was wondering if you were going to come on. And Darren. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys are all here. I hope. Look, I'm talking about how I have no faith left in humanity. And look at all these beautiful people in the comments. I absolutely needed to do this. It's it's so refreshing. It really is. You guys have no idea what it means to me. Even just little comments make such a big difference. Hello, Chris. It's so hard, especially when you're in a funk, when you're depressed, when you're whatever, to solely focus on that, right? I have had the best month I've ever had in my career. Obviously, my husband and I are doing great. Today's our 14-year anniversary. The kids are out of school. It literally hasn't rained in like weeks, so it can't blame the weather. There's literally nothing. And so my brain's like, let's focus on how sad we are. And you tend to get that like tunnel vision, right? That's why I told you guys before, I will, my Facebook newsfeed is nothing but cuteness and positivity and reminding you all that you are strong and you are amazing, and the world is a better place with you in it. And I also do that for myself. It's very selfish, but when I get in one of these moods and I get that tunnel vision and my brain just wants to focus on all the things that are wrong, or just there's nothing wrong but we're going to be sad anyways, it does help me to have reminders that people are amazing. People really are amazing. Especially in times like these where, like I said, I feel like everybody's just on this downward spiral. And I think my brain's like, what's the point? Right? Like, what's the point of going out? What's the point of, meeting new people when everybody's just so terrible and ugly to each other? But then I have reminders like this. And I have reminders of my own Facebook page, because if things get too overwhelming and social media is contributing to the problem instead of helping, then instead of scrolling through my newsfeed where I see everybody's posts and everybody's drama and everybody's, hatred and political bullshit, then I just go to my page and I just look at my kids and I just look at, inspirational quotes and seeing all of you guys comment on my posts. Like my page is the only page that I will read the comment section, because the comment section is never pretty in any public platform. It's all just people being so terrible to each other. So I do like to cruise my own Facebook page, and I really do encourage everybody to do the same thing. Like, don't share anything on your page that's not going to make you feel better someday, because first of all, it does help when you're in these kind of moods. But second of all, I talked about my friend that passed away a couple of months ago at this point now. And, I went to his page and I wanted to be reminded of the good times, and I wanted to, make myself feel better. And I got to his page and it was just nothing but hateful, terrible things, all political stuff, just bashing the other party, just saying like terrible things. And it did not, like, that's not a legacy to leave. That's not a page that's going to make people feel better when, you pass away and they go to look for happy memories, right? That's not the way you want the world to remember you. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but I would hope that that's not the way you want the world to feel. Lauren asked how old my kids are. I have 3 boys. They are 9, 11, and 19. The little ones have birthdays coming up in September. So pretty soon. They'll be 10 and 12. Eddie says, thank you, Dee. I hope you'll be at FCICon next Saturday. I will. I might be up at the seminary this weekend too. Nice. Work schedule sucks. I can totally appreciate that. I actually just had this conversation with my 9-year-old today because we had to go into the office to drop off paperwork. Normally I do most work from home, but if you have to drop off paperwork, you have to go to the office. And listen, this child is such an old soul. He always reminds me that, you can't just work all the time. And so I told him that we would go to the beach on the way home. And we stopped at the Overlook and we looked for bald eagles and, we climbed the observation tower and we just spent like, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes maybe at the beach, at the park. And it was amazing. I always try, even if it's just something little, like if I have an extra like 10 minutes before an appointment, I always try to find a park, especially if it has water, like if there's a creek or a river or the lake or something. It's just such a good way to bring me back down because I'm always like anxious about work and, stressed out. And I think, with doing investigations at nighttime, I think that was such a big help for me because then it doesn't get in the way of, working and things like that. Yes, obviously it gets in the way of sleep. And I spent many a nights, at the seminary till 4 a.m. and then wake up at 6:30 with the kids. But I don't know, the way I look at it, like life's too short to be anything but happy. So if I have a chance to do something, then I do it. And hopefully you guys do the same, even if it's, something little like spend your lunch break at a park or, just taking a different way home and just driving around with the windows down and blaring music makes me so happy. Lauren says positive talking and positive posts makes the world a better place. Everything you do and say can make a difference in someone's life. You show love, you get love in return. Lauren, we talked about this on the show last week. Not last week because I was working. The week before. People totally underestimate how important their words can be. And this is something that we talk about all the time when it comes to negative things. You never know when somebody's on the verge of hurting themselves or doing something stupid or, you know what I mean, just completely giving up. You never know, right? So we always tell people, don't say mean things to people. You never know people's struggles, blah, blah, blah. But I think that we should also focus on the positivity part. You never know when you telling your story or you telling somebody like, hey, you're an amazing mom. Or, if you tell one of your employees, like, you did a really great job. I really appreciate having you at this company. Like, one thing that you say to people, one little tiny thing of positivity can completely change somebody's life. Honestly, that person might have been on the verge of quitting their job because they don't feel appreciated. And you just took 10 seconds out of your day to say something nice to them or to encourage them or to just let them know that they are seen and appreciated. And now all of a sudden they have this totally new, renewed sense of pride and they want to work there again. They want to be a good employee. I feel like we should always be trying to take time out of our day, and by time, I mean that whopping 10 seconds that it takes to compliment somebody. Because there's been so many times where I'm having a shitty day or I just have a real bad attitude and just that's all it takes is one thing. Somebody says one thing and it can totally change your life, good or bad. And it's like that saying that if you tattooed all of the words that you say onto your body, would you still be beautiful? That is one of like, it's such a profound thing to think about. You know, if everything that you said to people was on a billboard that followed you around and everybody could see the way that you talk to other people, would you be proud of the words that are written down? It's just it's a really important thing. People totally underestimate their words. Um, Lauren has a 35-year-old daughter and a 30-year-old son and a 15-year-old granddaughter and two grandsons aged 9 and 11. Nice. Yeah, I don't know if your grandsons are both from the same parent, like if they're brothers, but mine are constantly fighting all the time. That's all they do is fight. Nancy says, I think air quality alerts are having depressing effects on people. We all need enough oxygen all day, every day. We are messing with our planet and paying the price. Yeah, there's some crazy fires going on in Canada right now. And actually, when I was at the lake today, it was very cloudy and I didn't put two and two together. But you couldn't even see the horizon of the water because it was just like the clouds went all the way to the fog or whatever went all the way to the lake. And then I saw a TikTok. This guy was talking about dry lightning is going to be happening in PA today. I didn't even know that was a thing. Lauren said, it's like looking at a book. You see the cover, but you don't know what the story is. That's the same when it comes to people. You don't know their story. I just read a Facebook post that was like this today, and it really had me thinking, like, most people only know the summary that's written on the back of the book, you know, that tells you what the book is about. There's hardly anybody in the world that knows your whole story. Even your best friends, even your closest family members, they don't even know the whole story. So it's yeah, you have a lot of audacity to think that you know what somebody's going through. You know, it is exactly like a book. People just see what's on the outside and what's like immediately there, and they don't think about the fact that, you know, people have a lot going on. And I think it's crazy because I feel like we live in a time where like self-care is such a big thing right now, you know. Everybody wants like personal days off work, you know, for mental health days, and you know, everybody wants people to respect their space and blah blah blah. And I'm not saying any of those are bad things, but I think people forget that that works the other way too. You know, we expect people to understand that I am struggling and I need you to accommodate what's going on with me because I'm having mental health issues. You know, I'm having mental health struggles. And then they will turn around and completely disregard the fact that other people are struggling too. It's not just you. I feel like it's such a contradictory society that we live in. You know, everybody's so focused on like, I don't know, accommodate me, you know, do these things for me because I need to worry about my mental health. But then those same people will get on the internet and cyberbully somebody that they've never met, or tell a mom that she is a piece of crap for whatever. There's no reason to mom shame ever. You know, it's just a very contradictory time. And I know that people say it all the time to never think that you know everything about somebody, but people just don't listen. Oh, those are all three your daughter's kids. Yep. I can feel for her if she ever needs to talk about it. Let me know, because that is a different kind of parenting when you have two boys who are close in age and I just wish like they could be best friends. I don't know why they don't. Lauren says bipolar runs in my family. Yeah. Isn't it fun that our family gets to give us things like that? um, but I think that at least for older generations, um, I think that people just had to constantly silently struggle with mental health issues. Especially guys. It's always, well, man up, blah blah blah. Don't I'll give you something to cry about. There's a million terrible sayings that people used to get told all the time. And kids who had ADHD were not like helped the way that they could be. And I'm not just talking about medicine. It was just, oh, that's a bad kid. And people would just basically give up on them. And having ADHD, I wish that people could understand that it's not always a bad thing. It's just frustrating when you're constantly like told that you're a failure. Like these kids are trying to go to school and they were just getting like their problems were just disregarded and they were just labeled as like a bad kid. And so then they get stressed out about it because they want to do good. They want to, a lot of people with ADHD are like perfectionists, which is it's such a anomaly. It's such a contradictory thing that people don't really understand, but a lot of them are perfectionists. And so the fact that they are disappointing people, the trusted adults in their lives, they're disappointing them constantly and they can't help it. So it just makes them more upset, which makes them act out more, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like a lot of these older generations were just completely disregarded. I feel like they had a lot going on and they couldn't get the help that they needed. And I think now a lot of younger people that I talk to are realizing that their parents or their uncles or their grandparents or their aunts or whatever, the older generations do have these issues, but it was just never diagnosed. Like family members that are bipolar, people probably made jokes about them and whatever, and call them Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or whatever, and just, brush it off as that's their personality trait. And I think now a lot of people are realizing like, oh, holy shit, that actually is a thing, that they have these undiagnosed things that run rampant in families, I feel like. Nancy said, my boys are 16 months apart and fought a lot as kids and are good friends now as adults. It happens slowly. My sister and I swear to God, we didn't fight. I mean, granted, it's different because we're girls. I get it. But I try to explain to my kids all the time, like, I have such a good relationship with my brother and my sister. They're the two of the people on the planet that I know I can count on for anything. And it just breaks my heart to see my kids fight because I know the kind of relationship you could have. And people do always tell me to just wait, someday they'll be friends. And I don't want to jinx it, but I am starting to see like little signs that they're getting along more. They still fight all the time. Like, and it's like you see on TV where it's like, he's breathing my air. He's looking at me. He pointed at me like, oh my gosh, are you serious? But, it's just little things like when we go to the store and I only take one of them, then they'll be like, oh, can I get this for the other one? So they're coming around and we got some time, but I just want them to have that relationship. I think it's so important. Nobody really understands you the way your siblings do. My sister and I played Cranium together one time. Like we were on a team and there was a bunch of other people playing, and it was just crazy the things that we would do, you know, like my sister had to act out a movie, and all she did was like put her arms out to the side and pretend like she was flying. And I said, Gone with the Wind. And that was it, you know. And everybody's like, you're cheating. You looked at the cards. I'm like, no, we just know each other really well. So it was really easy for us. And we got banned from being on the same team on Cranium anymore. But I just want that for my kids. It's, you know, so much of our personalities are attributed to growing up and the things that happen and the beliefs that we were taught, and, you know, all of this stuff, kind of like your whole life, it just molds you into this adult, right? Good or bad. But your siblings, especially when you're close in age like that, are the only ones who basically lived that same life, you know? So you end up, I don't know, you just end up being each other's person, like the one who understands. Lauren said, my dad was born in 1933, and at 6 weeks old, he came down with polio. Oh my goodness. He lost the use of both arms and legs. Back then, polio was a new thing. My father, until he was age 4, lived in a hospital and was put under test after test. He was lucky to get to use both arms and one leg back. He wore a brace on his paralyzed leg until he passed away in 1980. Wow. That's amazing that he got all of that back. Wow. What a wild story. Hello, Tommy. Mr. I promise that I will be over for your volleyball party. Do not forget that. Tommy, I actually need to talk to you because I want to do a show next week and have some guys on the show. And I know that you said you would do it. And yeah, and Tommy's super close with his sister, so I know he understands what I'm talking about. But you know, there's just an unspoken language between siblings, and I pray that my kids have that someday. I really think that they will. At least that's my hope. But Tommy says I'm a train wreck. Perfect. You came to the right place. Yeah, when I was trying to think of a name for the show, I was like, you know, I was like, I just want people to know that, like, I'm a freaking train wreck, and it's fine. It's fine. You can totally be a train wreck and still live your life. You know, you just got to conduct your train wreck. And then I was like, oh my God, there I go. There it is. It's perfect. Because we're all a train wreck, Tommy. Just some people are good at hiding it and some people don't talk about it. And I hate that. I think that it's doing a disservice to the world if you just constantly sit there and pretend like everything's okay. First of all, because it's no good for your personal mental health, but it's also a disservice to other people because then they sit there and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm the only one who's a train wreck. You know, I'm the only one who has these problems. And then they just feel like they're alone all the time. Tommy says all the best people are. They usually have the dopest hearts. I completely agree. I feel like people who have been through a lot, people who constantly go through a lot, and it doesn't always even have to be like trauma. You know, you don't have to have, you know, you don't have to be an orphan who lived on the streets to have a dope heart, right? It just takes, you know, going through stuff and understanding how to get through it and understanding heartbreak and, you know, depression. And it gives you this sense of empathy that a lot of people don't have. I got stuck on like this, you know, sad TikTok, everything that makes you cry. And I've been seeing so many videos where people go out on the streets and they're asking people like, oh, I just need $1. This one guy was asking for $5 so he could buy a shirt. He was literally outside in the middle of winter time with no shirt on. And all these people are walking by with their nice clothes on and their fancy shoes and their fancy bags and all this stuff. And they're just going, no, no, no. And then they go up to the people who are homeless on the side of the street and they ask them, do you just have $1? And every single one of them reaches in their pocket and pulls out everything that they have and gives it to them. It takes going through something to understand what it's like. And then you just have this like it's like the Grinch movie where your heart grows 10 times too big. When you understand what people are going through, then you don't ever want them to feel the things that you felt, and you don't ever want them to feel alone like you did. And it's just a beautiful thing, honestly. Some of the people who have been through the most are the kindest, most caring people that you will ever meet. And, when people are struggling financially, it's always the people who barely have 2 pennies to their name who are the first ones to help, because people don't want to see somebody go through that. Lauren says, well, you look fabulous for being a train wreck. Thank you. Again, it's that don't judge a book by its cover. But I mean, honestly, that's part of it. That's part of why I wanted to do this show too, because I get a lot of shit. I'm not gonna lie. I get so much shit for being a positive person all the time. There's honestly people who can't stand me because I'm always positive. But first of all, just because somebody has a positive attitude does not mean that they don't have negative thoughts. That's what I think people don't understand that. Just because somebody is like smiling all the time or always trying to see the bright side of things or whatever, doesn't mean that they don't struggle with their own thoughts, like negative thoughts. Honestly, it's a daily struggle. It's a daily struggle. It is not easy to constantly be trying to see the bright side of things or to see the possibilities of fixing things. It's super easy to just give up, right? It's a constant struggle to train your brain to be positive and to be solution minded instead of the woe is me stuff. Obviously, it doesn't work all the time. I'm in the middle of a pointless woe is me session right now. I'll get over it, but it's not easy to do. It's so easy to do to just sit there and scroll TikTok and just sit on the couch and not leave the house and not ever try to fix things. That's easy. So when people sit there and think like, oh, she's positive all the time, obviously, she's got it easy. No. She's fighting every single day, but she also doesn't let anybody know that. You got to check on your positive friends. You got to check on them because they are super good at hiding things. And just don't be an asshole. I mean, I'm trying to think of like a nice way to say it, but there's really not anyway. I think that when people, Lauren says, the saying, haters are going to hate. I should put that up there. It's true. I think that when people are like that though, when they're like, oh, you don't have to smile so much, is what a guy at work told me one time. You don't have to smile all the time. I think that when people are like that, it's just because they don't have that ability. They don't have the ability to be stronger than their thoughts and to be positive and to, be solution minded. Um, so they just hate everybody who's not, they hate everybody who has that ability because it's something that they wish they could do. At least that's what I tell myself so that I can feel better about it. Because they do say that usually the thing that people hate about you is, it's actually nothing to do with you. It's just about, flaws that they have or whatever. But I was driving home this week and I was like just sitting there just mad at myself. Like, God, you got such a shit attitude. Like, wait, this is ridiculous. And I said to myself, like, this has been a long 5 minutes because you guys know I have my 5-minute rule. I understand. Trust me, I understand that bad things happen. I'm not saying that like being positive means that you just like are oblivious to the fact that bad things happen. And I'm not saying that you should not have big emotions, I call them, like anger and sadness and depression and whatever. That's being positive doesn't mean that you're like, those things don't exist. But years and years ago, my best friend and I, we struggled a lot, like with relationships, with our kids who were very young, with being single moms, with paying bills, with buying food for our kids. We struggled a lot. We were tough. We were tough cookies. But shit would happen. And so when those things would happen, we would call each other and we would say, I need 5 minutes. And if I called you and I said, I need 5 minutes, then you would actually go into your phone or onto your microwave or whatever, and you would set a 5-minute timer. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to cry about my electric bill, and I'm going to cry about the fact that they're going to shut it off on Friday, and I don't know how I'm going to buy food, and my boss is a jerk, and my son's father, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take my 5 minutes and I'm going to cry and I'm going to swear and I'm going to yell and I'm going to whatever. Sometimes you don't even say anything. You just cry. And then when you hear that ding, 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 okay, time's up. Now I'm going to focus on what I can do to get my electric bill paid. Now I'm going to focus on looking for sales at the grocery stores, rolling my change to get some money together, whatever it is, whatever the solution is. So after our 5 minutes was up, we put on our big girl pants and we would just kick some ass. We would go back to being tough, strong warriors. But you can't be that way all the time. So you take your 5 minutes. So I was driving this week and I was like, God, you're taking a long 5 minutes. So I'm trying to focus on getting my attitude in check because it's just been ridiculous. And I don't even know. I can't even stand myself sometimes. I'm like, God, get your shit together. You have nothing to be sad about. So I should just actually set a timer because I'm telling you, there is something about like the actual timer going off, like the dinging, whatever noise it is when your timer goes off. There is something about that noise that like, it's like the Pavlov dogs or whatever, like that dinging, like sets your brain like, okay, and we're done. And, obviously there's going to be things that you can't just get over in 5 minutes. But it does help for all of those little problems that maybe you would tend to like dwell on for a little bit longer than you should. Set a timer, give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. It does help a lot. They don't have the smile gene. Yes. Sam says misery loves company. Yeah. And it is, there's people who will literally just not talk to somebody who's positive or for example, I don't do drama. I think pretty much everybody in my personal life, in my work life, in my volunteer life, every part of my life, everybody knows that. If you're going to tell me some drama about somebody, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. And I probably won't remember it by the time I get in my car, because I don't care. First of all, I got enough things to worry about with my own life. I've got goals to crush. I've got, I don't have time to deal with people's drama. And plus, like, it's not my story to tell. It's not my job to judge people. Um, so I don't really like buy into the whole drama thing. But you will have people like who are so unreceptive to that. They don't even understand it. They're like, "What do you mean you don't do drama?" Like, I literally don't care. I don't care about hearing somebody's stories, whatever. If someone wants to come to me and tell me their story, I will listen to it, but I'm not going to listen to it from someone else. So there's people that like that's all they know how to do. And so they just actually can't be friends with somebody who doesn't do drama because they don't know how to exist just by focusing on themselves, and their issues. Like if you just took all of that energy that you're using to talk about other people and spread rumors and get other people to hate that person, you could have crushed your goals by now, you know? And not every goal is like about huge things. Like my goal is to drive a Ferrari. Like that's not a thing. I mean, it can be a goal, but I just mean like, there's little goals that you could be crushing every single day if you just would focus on yourself. Um, so many people are like that. I'm sure you guys know. I'm sure some people who are like that. Um, they just self accountability is not a thing that these people do, and they what is it? They burn, I don't know, something about they burn out other people's candles to make theirs burn brighter or whatever. That's exactly what it is. Like if somebody is a threat to them, they're like, "Oh, did you know that she blah blah blah?" Because they have to like knock you down a peg. So I don't even do drama about myself. Like literally, if people are mad at me, I don't care. If people don't like me, I really don't care. I can promise it's one-sided because I'm not thinking about ways to destroy other people's lives in my free time. Lauren says you are the author of your own story and don't need the drama of someone else's story. Thank you. Like I'm over here writing my own story. I'm over here making my own memories. I'm over here crushing my own goals. I'm over here working on becoming a better version of myself. I got enough to do. I don't want to deal with other people's drama. And it's not even just drama. It's just negativity. Like don't talk down about other people to me. Especially if you're talking about somebody being a bad mom. I don't like that. Sam says, or something simple and uncomfortable like painting a bathroom wall a different color. Satisfaction of finishing a task and doing something new it's amazing. Yes. I mean, that is a goal. That's a goal. Um, and we actually talked about this not too long ago on the show. Sometimes, especially when I'm in like a funk, man, this has lasted a long time because we talked about this 2 weeks ago on the show. Sometimes when I'm like real bad and I get to the point where like, I can't even fathom the thought of taking a shower. Like, I can't do laundry. I can't do dishes. I can't like do anything that I'm supposed to do. Sometimes I will make a list because again, it's the satisfaction of finishing a task. I will make a list. And the very first thing I write on my list is make a list. And then I will write, take a shower, clear the dirty dishes off the dining room table. Like all these tasks that are like so minimal and so easy. Just because then I get to go, check. Actually, I never check anything else. I cross it all the way off so that it's like a big dramatic thing. But the the simple satisfaction of finishing a task, any task, is wonderful for the dopamine in your brain. Your brain's like, yeah, look at us. We're kicking ass. Even though it's like little things like dump out this pop can and throw it in the garbage, you know. So if you're ever in a funk, like just make a list and make it like the most ridiculous things, like things that'll take you 2 seconds, or things that are like normal things. And then sprinkle in some like actual task things that you want to get done. Because once you start crossing off things, then you get that motivation back and you're like, okay, I can do this. Um, it's a great tip. And yeah, I love things like that. When I painted this wall behind me and we put up that shelf, like I would just come in this room and I would just turn the light on and just look at it and then just turn the light off and go out of the room, go do what I was doing. um it's so good. Painting is such a like instant gratification task. Nancy says talk about your baby chicks. I should have brought them. They could have been on the show. So we tried to hatch 22 eggs and we only got 4 babies. Well, we did get 5, but the 5th one is not doing so well. We're doing everything that we can for him or her, but it's not looking good. This one took a very long time to get out of the shell, and it was making no effort to get out. So after like 16 hours or something, I ended up breaking the shell the rest of the way to get it out. But then come to find out, first of all, it's teeny, teeny, tiny. Oh my gosh. Just its head is so teeny tiny, and its belly is super like swollen, and one of its feet goes sideways, and so we don't know how that one's going to do, but we only ended up with 4, but we're going to start another round on Friday. So we'll hopefully hatch more this time. It's a crapshoot. It's hard. There's a lot of like not fun parts to doing the homestead thing. But luckily my kids are super well-rounded and they understand how life works and they understand how farming works and they understand so many things. And I'm so proud of them for all of that. So we did have the talk that like, this one might not make it, but as long as we do everything that we can to make it happy and comfortable and whatever. It's so cute, but he's a mess. I call them all he's, like I know that. But they're so freaking cute and it's so cool to watch. Like it's so cool to watch. And all animals are amazing except for humans. Like, okay, these baby chicks are born and within 2 minutes they're walking, and within 3 minutes they're drinking water, and within 4 minutes they're eating food. Like humans take a year to walk. Like, can you imagine if we were still like wild animals? We would not survive. Like, what animal in Mother Nature takes a year to learn to walk? So it's so incredible to watch. These things are like, first of all, they only take 21 days to grow inside of an egg. But second of all, they're in a tiny little egg and then they come out and once they dry off, they're like these adorable little fluff balls that look like they're 3 times the size of the egg. Like, I don't know how they fit in there, but it's just so cool to watch. Like, it's just an egg. And then all of a sudden you see this little beak come through and then everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. Everybody in the house is so caught up in these eggs and watching them. The first night I came home and one of them had started to poke through the shell, I slept in the downstairs living room because I wanted to see them be born. Lauren says, I have work early. I'm heading to bed. Have a great rest of your night. And remember, you are loved. You as well, Lauren. Have a good day at work. Yeah, so they're so much fun. It's so much fun to have them in their little peeping. Nancy, I'll take you a video and send it to you of them in their little brooder box now that they're walking around and fluffy and eating and drinking. It's fantastic. And I love being able to teach my kids stuff like that. You know, they are well versed in the cycle of life, and I think that's pretty cool. You know, I'm not saying that we like, you know, only eat organic and we only eat what we grow, whatever. But I can tell you that my kids can identify a tomato plant and they know where chicken nuggets come from. and they are, you know, better off than most kids their age, because most kids don't even understand that chicken nuggets come from chickens. So I'm pretty happy with it. But I will have to let you know how it goes in the next ones. I'm going to pick up some eggs on Friday and hatch them. So wish me luck. But I think I'm actually going to get off here too, because it is my anniversary and I have literally spent 4 minutes with my husband today, because that's how it goes when you have kids and jobs and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. I wouldn't have it any other way, but I would like to spend some time with him before he goes to bed, because he works early as well. And here comes my children. But I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much. This helped me so much. Just talking things out. Tommy, you keep being awesome. And I will talk to you guys next week. Oh, don't forget, if you have anything that you want to talk about, please, please, please message it to me. I would hate to ever think that there was something that was on your mind or something you were stressed about and you didn't message me because you didn't want anybody to know it was you. I can promise you on everything that is your story to tell, and I will tell it from my point of view as if it's me asking the question or me talking about it, or I will just say that it's an anonymous person. I will never ever tell anybody unless you want me to. And I'm assuming you guys don't, because you don't ever like join me on the show. So please get your topics in if there's something you want to talk about. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Good night, guys.